You are listening to Stages Podcast with Mary Lee Fairbanks and Stephanie J. Block. Welcome to Season 6. Here on Stages Podcast, we go behind the scenes and beyond the resume to explore the crossroads of creativity, spirituality, motherhood, and so much more. Please like and subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all the places. Give us 5 stars and a great review. It really helps us grow. Thanks for joining Stages Podcast, Season 6. Collectively just went, Rannells is here.
Hi.
Al, good morning.
What's happening? I love your glasses, both of you.
Oh, thank you. We love you and we're so grateful.
Should I put on my glasses?
Yes, you should.
Well, the difference is we can't see a damn thing without our glasses.
No, mine's real. Are yours just like blue glass or whatever that blue light glasses are? Or is it real?
When I turned 40, I had to get reading glasses.
Oh, yeah. And it happens fast, right? It's not a gradual thing. You go, oh, why can't I see any of this anymore? Yeah.
A curtain falls. And then the number goes up and up and up.
Oh, Andrew Rannells.
You've got my infant Prague in the background. My grandma's Jesus statue.
All I heard was Jesus. Did you say Jesus or
got a Jesus statue in the background?
There's a.
You do. Why? Why do you have the immaculate baby Jesus behind?
And how has it not been struck by lightning thus far?
Well, it's from my grandma. It's the infant Prague.
Yeah. Of course. Are the hands like this? The infant Prague always has the 2 fingers, right? Up like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I think it's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Oh,
we've listened to your book. Hence the striking of the baby Jesus behind you, but we're getting in it. All right. Now reading glasses off because these are my far-sighting reading glasses. So now these come off so I can see this.
Oh my God.
I consider this guest the Midwestern Cary Grant of our time. From his undeniable likability, his charm, quick wit, timing, good looks, style, he has the stature and the face and the hair, people, to get him cast as characters who are named Trent and Elijah and Blair. You need good hair for Blair. If you know Andrew Rannells and you don't like him, I do not trust you. He is a loyal, present, and dear friend, and that commitment to his friends and his family reflects not only in his relationships, but his commitment to work. He has starred in multiple television series, and he's currently starring in Showtime's Black Monday, and he's voicing multiple characters in Netflix Big Mouth, and he is a delight, and you are in for a great conversation. Please welcome my dear friend, Andrew Rannells.
Yay. That's my favorite bio I've ever had read about me. That's very sweet. Thank you, Stephanie.
Well,
thank you.
I think the world of you, and you and I have done a couple of firsts togethers. For me, listeners, I think now it's legal, so I'm going to go ahead and say it. The first and only time I smoked pot was with Mr. Andrew Rannells.
Yes.
It was very well sort of protected. It was in my own backyard. We knew where the hash or hashish, what do you even call it? The junga.
The weed.
Junga. Well, ganja, not junga.
We were with people. I'm not a big weed smoker.
No,
you are not a big weed smoker.
But we had the Brandon Uranowitz and we had the Christian Borle. Do you think we're betraying their No, we're not, right?
I think that's part of their brand,
I
right?
think so too. I think so too.
And they sort of talked us through the process.
And it was safe and fun. And all I
Yeah.
remember, it felt very calming and normal. I just remember Brandon Uranowitz kept saying Moises Kaufman, the playwright
Yes.
Moises. And for some reason that tickled me in a way that I could
Yeah.
not stop.
Because he says Moises. Moises.
So, you know, my relationship with you goes deep,
Yeah,
Papa
it does.
Rannells. Yeah.
See,
Man, the next time we have a gathering like that, can I please be invited?
Yeah, because
Yes.
it's part of your brand. It's part of Mary Lee's brand.
Not when my teenage son is listening. It certainly is not.
No.
Wow.
No,
Mm-hmm. No.
Well,
we'll be cutting
and
that.
Here, I thought we were going to talk. I thought you were going to say something about like we performed at Carnegie Hall together.
Oh my gosh,
But-
it is true. You and that was the first time I had a solo or duet show at Carnegie
Yeah.
Hall was with you.
Me too. Yes.
Okay,
We
so
did
we're
that
going to the
together.
classiest of classies to perhaps not so classy.
Maybe. I mean, but we're hip.
You know what? We're
Steph,
hip and
we're
it adds
super
to the
hip.
levels of who we are and the depth to all of our performances with these experiences.
Exactly. Exactly. It was character building. It was very character building.
So you're super
Um,
busy, my friend, and I never know if you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or what does that look like for you right now?
I am on the East Coast.
Okay.
It's I've been very lucky in the past few years to be able to go back and forth between Los Angeles and New York. Obviously, New York is where I feel most at home, or maybe not obviously, but this is where I moved when I was 19 years old. So I feel like this is really where I'm based. But I like the West Coast. I spent the good majority of our ongoing pandemic in Los Angeles, which I know you also made the trek west as well.
We're on the
Yeah,
West.
on the west. Yeah. So but I like having the the possibility of going back and forth. It's sort of the best of both worlds. Marley, you're also on the West Coast? Yes.
No, I'm on the East Coast. I'm up in Boston.
Oh, well, look at that.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's a native. What do they call you? Are you a mass hole? That's a thing, though, right? They say that. Yeah.
I feel very much more like a New Yorker than I do like a Massachusetts person. But yeah, most Massachusetts people would be considered massholes.
And listeners in Massachusetts, this is not a blanket statement. I just recently heard that you could be qualified if you have certain
It
characteristics.
depends how you drive.
That's really?
Oh,
That's
really?
the test.
Mhm.
Huh?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
People drive
All
like
right.
crazy people in this town.
Oh.
Crazy. But even when I lived in New York and I would drive in, people would be like, "Oh God, driving in New York, it's nothing compared to driving in Boston." People drive like
Really
crazy people in Boston. Yeah, it's
Oh,
crazy.
driving in New York gives me severe anxiety. I do not like doing it.
Yeah, because it's
Also, do you recall? So after we had a slumber party at your house, we got stuck in crazy traffic.
Yep.
Stephanie was driving us back from Maplewood.
Yeah.
And we were in that car for, I think it was 18 hours.
It certainly felt that way. We should have been in Greece, like Athens, by the time we got out of the car. We weren't there. We were just in Midtown.
I still have videos. I was videoing the entire ride of us like checking in.
I think if you go back and look at that video, you'll see it was actually just a 2-hour drive, but you were still really high. So you thought it was an 18-hour drive.
And I was behind the wheel. And you have to be, when you're driving in New York, you have to be aggressive defensive.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like you have to be on very much aware of what's going on around you. But if you just sit back and let others take charge, you'll never get anywhere. So you have to, I guess I'm a little defensive aggressive. So perhaps,
And you had 3 yahoos in your car who were just like screaming.
Yes.
And yeah. So thank you for getting us there safely.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I saved your life.
You sure did.
So my first hard-hitting question, because the interview actually has started. Can you believe that?
No, we're ready. We're ready.
In listening, I didn't read your book. People, I encourage you to read it, although in Andrew's voice. The book that I'm speaking of is Too Much Is Not Enough. And you can buy the book in hard copy, but you can also listen to it on Audible.
That's how I listened to it on Audible. And it was so good. I finished it in a day.
Oh, thank you.
I
Oh,
loved
thank
it.
you.
It was really fun.
All 7 hours and 8 minutes or something like that. It's like
Yeah,
7
I
hours.
just put it on that day and I cooked and I did a bunch of stuff and I just listened to it. It kept me company the whole day. I loved it.
It is
Well,
awesome.
thank you.
But
Thank
I
you
have-
for taking the time to listen to that.
But I have to ask, before Stephen Sondheim left this physical world, did you ever get to share a meal or a space or a conversation with him?
A few times over the years, yes. I did a reading. When was that? This was probably about 8 years ago. The Roundabout did a reading of Company, and it was
Mm.
like a gay version of
Oh.
Company. So
Ah.
I played Marta. John Tiffany directed it, and Stephen Hoggett was going to choreograph it, and we had a really special week of just like learning that material, and it was like a really great group of people, and that production did not happen, but that's the only time I actually got to work with him, and so it was a real, yeah, that's one for the
Yeah,
old
that's a
scrapbook.
thrill.
Yeah,
That
you're
is
so
a
lucky.
thrill.
What was it like? What was he like?
He's very nice, very he was very I found him to be very grateful about people performing his work, and very sort of emotional about hearing his work performed in a new way. And then with our friend a few years later with James Lapine, remember when he had that bar mitzvah?
Yes, we were supposed to sit at the table with Stephen Sondheim, but it didn't happen.
But I spent a lot of time backstage with him at that, because Christian and I performed that night. We did.
Yes.
That was sort of the sort of beginning of the talks of Falsettos revival. It was that Christian and I sang Thrill of First Love together, and that's sort of what kicked off that conversation. But I got to just sit next to Stephen Sondheim, and just I tried not to nerd out too much, but it's hard.
Yeah.
It was hard not.
No, I nerded out because I was sitting at the table and there was a place, what do you call those little place cards?
Place
Place card.
Yeah, that said Mr. Stephen Sondheim. I was like, oh, it's happening. He's sitting at my table. Conversations. I will be jaunty. I will be serious. I will be distant yet approachable. Like I had my whole, and he just never came to the table. And I've had a couple moments like that. There was another James Lapine kind of being the center of it all. But I remember James was having a Christmas party.
Yeah.
And I had to go early. It was Celia Keenan Bolger and myself that came early, because then we had to rush off and do our shows. And so we spent a good half an hour, and I kept looking at my watch going, okay, I can wait another 3 minutes.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to wait another 4 minutes. And I kept pushing it. And finally I was like, crap, I have got to go, or I'm not going to be able to, make the share face happen. And I'm coming down in the elevator doors open. Who the F is standing right there?
Oh my God.
There he is.
It would have been awkward had I said, oh my gosh, Stephen, it wasn't the place. It wasn't the time. So literally, I feel like I've been living in a Stephen Sondheim musical, just trying to meet him, but it's never happened.
Well, I had just gone to the opening of Assassins at Classic Stage Company, and he was there. He was in the front row of the theater. This was about a week before he passed away. And it was, a thrill to see him. But sort of to your point, I was with a friend of mine, and he was like, well, go say hello. And I was like, no. This is not. We're all wearing masks.
Yeah.
And like, there'd be so many disclaimers. There'd be so many like, from me, from the Book of Mormon. Like, I would have to like.
I mean, and then Andrew, God forbid, like I would have felt the guilt had I not known the story of what happened. This is how self-centered I am. If I would have said, Stephen, I have to say hello. I'm friends with James Lapine, and then God forbid he left the world, I would have been like, oh, I must have done something. I had something to do with his demise, perhaps.
I might have done that.
Yes,
I could have done that. And he actually was very instrumental in helping the Book of Mormon along.
Really?
Really?
He came to a lot of our rehearsals for our workshop, and he was around quite a bit. Trey Parker and Matt Stone were pretty close with him, and he was really helpful about giving notes. And that was their first musical they had written, and so he came in. He was around a lot for that workshop that we did, which was also exciting. But he didn't like wasn't hands-on. He would like watch, and then he would talk to Trey and Matt. So we kind of
Right.
had a little bit of distance from them.
Because I read a letter, I think, on social media that Stephen Sondheim was watching South Park and literally unsolicitedly, is that a word? Unsolicitedly wrote them a letter saying, I love your humor. I love everything. If you all ever want to write a musical, would you please consider
No
collaborating
kidding.
with me? Yeah.
Pretty
Wow.
incredible.
Yeah, pretty incredible.
I wrote, when I first got to New York, I used to do Steps of the Palace as one of my audition songs all the time. And I had it recorded, and I found out where he lived, and I sent him a letter with a little recording of it and telling him the story about how I drove my poor brothers up and down the walls, listening to Sunday in the Park constantly in my bedroom, singing it to no end over and over. And he actually wrote me back. And he said,
Wow.
I loved your letter. It made me laugh. I really, really appreciate it, but I never accept unsolicited music from anyone. But thank you for the letter. He was very sweet. It was really cool.
That's very nice.
Yeah,
it
he
is
was very
very
nice.
nice. You're going to be that. People are going to talk about you like that all the time, Andrew Reynolds. Do you know that about yourself? I think so. I think so.
I don't know.
There may be some, scandalous stories along the way, but here's the good news. You've already aired so many. I won't define them as scandalous because they are your stories and your truth and what led you to be who you are. But when I was listening to every chapter, I thought, okay, I need to know a few things. I need to know, did his family and his parents know the content of the book before the book was published or aired? Because there's a lot going on in your life. I'm not going to do spoiler alert, but there's a lot of activity happening when you're 16, 17, 18, 19. These are big things.
Yeah, no, it was hard to, I mean, I wanted to share those stories because I felt like, we come in contact with a lot of people at those stage doors, young people who are, wanting to start careers and be on Broadway. And I couldn't help but think, especially when we were doing falsettos, that, maybe some of those kids were in the same position that I was in. And I found myself as a kid in Omaha doing a lot of community theater and being sort of a mature teenager. And sometimes you get put in really uncomfortable positions with adults who sort of take your age for granted. And that's what happened to me, is because I sort of presented as like an older kid, but I was like 16 years old. And this 40-year-old man decided, that seems like a good idea. And I was trying to be mature and thought I could handle that. And I couldn't handle it. It was really upsetting, and it was very troubling. But it, I was like, well, I'm going to share that story as sort of a cautionary tale. And also, like, if somebody else perhaps finds themselves in that situation, that there's always an out, and you can always find somebody to talk to. And when I was going through it, I just didn't feel like there was anyone to talk to. And it was, I wasn't really out to my family. And so how do I come out to my family and then also say, like, oh, and by the way, I'm having sex with a 40-year-old? Like, the whole thing was just overwhelming. So I tried my best to sort of deal with it on my own. And, luckily, like, I came out the other side of it, but it was a tough time. But sometimes I see those, these kids, these young people reach out, and I'm sure, to both of you as well, about like how to get started and and there's so much else that's wrapped up in it other than like, what 16 bars do I sing? Like, there's a lot that can happen to a kid when they're young and trying to pursue this as a career.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to share that.
I really appreciated that you shared that story, because I think the more you shed light on and make discussable stories like that about predators or situations that young, hopeful kids find themselves in, the less those predators will have the chance to operate. Because when I was 16, I had a predator story as well. And it was a relative. And what they do is groom you with little lies and little secrets to see what you'll keep. And then when they see you'll keep the little lies and the little secrets, they get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you find yourself trapped. And it's easy to find yourself trapped when you're young, when you don't have the experience like that of life, and you kind of trust that, oh, well, the world is a good place and most people aren't bad people, and the shock of that, when you have that realization that there are very bad people out there, and they don't wear, I used to say to my son all the time, they don't wear a little sign saying, predator, predator, predator. They seem usually very charismatic and very wonderful. But the key for me was to always say to my son, if anyone asks you to keep a secret, I promise you they are not looking out for you. They're looking out for themselves. So don't keep anyone's secret, because it's just usually the gateway to much bigger problems.
That's a very good way to say that. Yeah. A very succinct way to say that. Yes.
Andrew, do you think you would have, let's say you're a 16-year-old now with social media and all these different sort of digital platforms that you can, make friends on, but of course those friendships can turn into a whole different myriad of ways. I know I could never navigate what is happening online now. I just couldn't.
No. And for many reasons. Like, I think that, there's so much access to everybody. Like, I couldn't just reach out to Bernadette Peters on Instagram when I was 14.
But guess what?
Now kids can do that now.
Yeah.
Kids can do that. And there's Instagram, and I've done a couple stints on Cameo for various charities. And like, these kids have access to you in a very different way, which I think is a little unnerving, not to mention the fact that if I was a kid now, I'm sure I would be posting really bad videos of me singing like Corner in the Sky. and
those don't go away.
No, they don't go away. That's what I try to tell those kids. No. You don't want to post that. If I had I didn't actually sing Corner of the Sky. My go-to was Extraordinary from Pippin.
Oh,
I just I wanted to be a little different.
Turn it on its heels just a bit.
Contrarian. Yeah.
That's kind of savvy though, because if they hear your voice singing that tune, but they know you're not going to end up performing it, they will say, hey, do you have something else? And you just earned yourself another 2.5 minutes in the room, my friend. That's a savvy Nebraska talent. Now I need to know, because I didn't realize until again, I heard the preface of your book, MGM was truly my North Star and the reason I'm here. Grease 2, I do find better than Grease 1. Very controversial.
Thank you.
All of the shows in the 1993, you saw the Tonys, but I actually was coming into New York to audition for Belle in Disney Theatrical's Beauty and the Beast. So I saw Kiss of the Spider Woman live, I saw Crazy for You live, and I saw Tommy. And that was it for me. Like that season blew my mind. And I said, look, I love and probably could live doing community and regional theater forever. But once I saw those 3 productions, New York had to be the end game for me. And Miss Piggy, do you have any idea that like my top 3 Christmas gifts was a hand puppet Miss Piggy from Santa? And that was like one of my best friends. She stayed on my hand for months and we did everything together. So I need you at least talk about 2 out of these 4 things, why you have such an affinity for all of these.
Well, we can begin with the Miss Piggy.
That's a smart choice.
Miss Piggy, I feel like a tough lady, a strong female character. And as you know, little gay boys are drawn to strong female characters. And I'm
so grateful for that.
And she not only was she funny and she was sort of glamorous, but she also I think is it the Great Muppet Caper where she's like in the motorcycle and and there's like stunts involved. And I was like, well, that's what I want to be. I want to be Miss Piggy.
If you think back to Me Behind the Wheel in New York City, can't you see it? Aggressive, defensive.
Defensive.
All coming from Miss Pigs.
And glamorous.
We learned it from her. Yeah. So that was but now at the same time, I was obsessively watching Grease 2, and I know
you're Michael. You are Michael.
Well, my whole hair life I've been chasing Maxwell Caulfield, and I got to meet Maxwell Caulfield at like a Easter bonnet competition.
Sure. Yeah. Broadway
He
Cares
was
Equity
doing
Finds AIDS.
he was
Easter
doing
Bonnet.
he was doing a play, and we were both, presenting something, and we shared a dressing room together, and I was like sweating profusely and so nervous. And I finally said to him, I was like, I just have to tell you, you are such a huge part of my sexuality. And he said, I hear that a lot. I was like, well, thank you. Thank you, Maxwell Caulfield.
Now, is a person on a motorcycle still super sexy to
Well,
you? See what I'm
I mean,
saying? Miss Piggy.
Yep, I
Maxwell
didn't
Caulfield.
put that together. I didn't put it together. But now that you say it, I've never dated anyone who drove a motorcycle, nor have I ever
Come
driven a
on.
motorcycle. But yes, you're right. Cool
Yeah,
writer.
taking that
And
helmet off and then
yes.
sort of blow, the hair in the wind.
Yeah.
Who's that guy? Where did he come from? I mean, it's all
so
just so good.
It's
Yeah.
really good.
One of the tragedies in my life is Seb, unbeknownst to me, but knows my passion for Grease 2, got me this awesome t-shirt with, and her name is Michelle Pfeiffer's character's name is Stephanie. Who's so
Stephanie.
sexy, right? So
Mhm.
it's Stephanie and Michael on there. And he's like, I got you something. This really does encompass my life. And I was like, oh, babes, thanks. Oh my gosh. Didn't expect it. Didn't ask him for anything. I took the scissors, I opened it up, and then I took the shirt out. I had chopped the hell out of the shirt that he got me. I was like, God, this is so right. Something wonderful is right here in front of me. And I just chopped the hazel out of it. And now we're still searching for that
Aw.
logo. We can't seem to find it out there anymore. So y'all,
I'm gonna find
if you
one.
happen to see a really great
Mhm.
tee, it's a crew neck, but it's gray, and it's got Stephanie in her pink lady, satin jacket with the black collar, and Michael with the hair. Please
know.
give me the link, because I'm in desperate need of that
With
shirt.
that hair. Just one more quick Grease 2 story. When I was in the Book of Mormon, and I would give the Broadway Care speech for like the 2 fundraising cycles that we do on the Broadway, Michelle Pfeiffer was in the audience one night, and she didn't know that there was going to be like a curtain speech. So like everybody, they're like standing up, and you're like, wait, like we're going to ask for some money. And she was walking up the aisle, and I was doing the speech that and then I screamed, Michelle Pfeiffer, I love you so much. I love you in Grease 2.
Oh my God.
And she turned around and like waved, and the rest of the cast was like, what happened to you?
No, I honor you for that. You had
What
a moment.
happened?
You couldn't miss that moment.
No, I was like, I might never see you again. So I just screamed it. And then I had to be back and be like, the Phyllis Newman's Women's
No, I don't think anybody would. They may not have understood what was happening in the moment, but then looking back, you're like, yep, can't fault him for that.
Yeah, you
Cannot
had to
fault
do
him
I
that.
for
guess. I mean, Josh was giving me a hard time. He was like, Grease 2. He was like, why didn't you say like Scarface or something? And I was like, because
yeah.
Josh.
No, that's enough. That's enough of a sentence right there. Because Josh, period. Yeah.
Period.
How
That's it.
tired were you during Book of Mormon, or did it fill your guts equally as what you were putting out?
Yeah, no, I would say that it was really just, I mean, once especially if you open a show in the spring and like it just sort of takes off, and then it takes you into like Tony time and all of that stuff, and you're just like,
You're riding the wave.
You're riding the wave. And, very similar to our Falsettos experience. I mean, different because our show was closed, but, Josh and Rory O'Malley and Nikki James were all nominated. So we got to go through that experience together. So as exhausting as it was also so thrilling to get to like go to all of those events and do all of that stuff. And then, to go do your show at night. I think that's sometimes what people forget, is that like, you still have to go do the show.
That's right.
Mhm,
Like,
mhm.
Yep.
you still got to go do the show.
Did you know right from the start, like in rehearsals, that was going to be a great show, just one of those shows that was going to be a classic?
I think we were all a little nervous that some of the subject matter seemed a little risky, but we thought, well, it was like, we'll find an audience. It might be a small audience, but we'll find an audience. And here we are 10 years later, and the show is still running on Broadway. It's pretty pretty crazy.
I
Yeah.
remember the
But
buzz. We were doing 9 to 5, and you and Josh
yes,
had finished the reading because Stephen Aremus, our musical supervisor and conductor, was there with you all in the
yep,
room. And the buzz that day after the reading literally was like, these are star making turns. This is a musical that's either going to like sweep people up, or it's going to be so it's just a divisive piece, right?
yeah,
But if
yeah,
you're in for the ride, it's
yeah.
hilarious and surprisingly life affirming and uplifting
Mhm.
in the
I
end.
think so.
Like,
Yeah,
I could not believe how I walked out because, I'm a spiritual girl. I do
yeah,
my church. And so I went there, and there were a couple of times where my spine went, oh, but then
yeah.
if you just exhale, let the art continue and the humor continue and the writing take you, it's not, I mean, I'm big on we don't need gratuitous. And for some reason, while sitting in the audience, for me, you could connect all the dots, which then
Yeah.
the payoff really was the end.
It
Well, and I
really
think,
is it's a beautiful ending to that show about like what is faith and what does that mean. And I think
Mhm,
that's I think where we were able to get people is like if you
mhm.
made it through some of the more shocking things, like the overall message is pretty faith affirming that
Yes.
yeah.
if it makes you a better person, if it makes you a kinder person, the details of what you're talking about are maybe not as important as how it affects you. So I was always very moved by the end of that show that like we
Yes.
got to share that message with people. I thought that was yeah.
And I think it didn't just offend one group of people. It kind of offended
Oh,
many,
everybody.
many, many
Oh my
groups
gosh,
across the
just
board. So
everybody. Yeah.
one group couldn't be upset because they were offending kind of everybody.
Yeah,
But
Right.
like you
no,
said, in the end, they wrap it up with a really, um, when you get past the sort of, and I say in quotes, truth telling, but pointing out of the hypocrisies and everything, it comes down to this thing that
Yep.
was really life affirming and about faith and about,
Now, let's
yeah,
be
just being
honest. In this
human.
day and
Yeah.
age, could it possibly open? I don't know. I'll
I don't
be
know.
I don't
honest.
know.
I don't think
I don't
so.
know. Well, they just rewrote it. I mean, they just had to make some
That I
pretty
didn't
massive,
know.
yeah, they made some pretty big changes to it before they reopened. So
Oh, really?
I think they took that as an opportunity, the shutdown of discussing certain aspects of the show, specifically with the Ugandan cast and
Yep.
sort of how they're portrayed. And to Trey and Matt and Bobby's credit, like they changed it. So, I
Hmm.
mean, that's pretty, you don't hear about that a lot
No,
on
you don't.
Broadway.
Not when
That
you have a bona fide commercial hit. You don't hear
Mhm.
about that a lot.
very cool that they did that. Cool. Should we talk about falsettos?
I think we have to talk about the falsettos. For me,
Falsettos.
it still is the
My favorite
magic in
thing
the
I've ever
bottle,
done.
the
Yeah.
favorite thing I've ever done. And that,
Yeah.
if you're listening, please take no offense in every other way, but there was just something that was remarkably, I've never had an experience from the moment you get cast until again, you're going through the award season together. That was joyful and purposeful and felt important, but I was so tired because I was a new mama, but
Yeah.
it really fed my soul. I wanted to hang with you guys. I wanted to
Yeah.
commune with you guys, have dinner with y'all. I only wanted to tell the story with this perfectly gathered cast, and the time we were telling it, it just was lightning in a
Yeah.
bottle.
It was the perfect experience. You're right. From top to bottom. It was really, yeah, it's and I've gotten to do a lot of really fun stuff, and I am not, as you said, not trying to offend anyone else I work with, but that
No.
was a perfect experience. It was really perfect,
And as
and I'm so
Wizard,
happy we got to film it.
oh my
Yeah.
And
gosh, me too.
there is a record of it because the run was not that long. I think it was like 16 weeks. So while a lot of people did get to see it in New York, it just like, especially, coming from the PBS of it all as like a kid and knowing what
Oh
those
yeah.
productions mean,
Mhm.
like that's it. That was sort of one of the best parts about it, that we got to film it and share it, and it exists. And you
And
know,
I've probably watched it a good half a dozen times, not for my performance, but because we all were on stage with each other. I
yeah,
think we felt each other's energies, we could hear each other's inflections, but not necessarily see all the choices being made. So literally when you're like hepatitis, like that facial expression took on a whole different meaning to that line reading from what I was hearing in the back of my head. Genius. There are genius moments going on
There's some good ones
in that movie. Yeah.
There's some
For
real
sure.
good
I'm
ones.
so pleased.
I just got to do a little Christmas concert with Betsy Wolfe here in New York, which was very fun. But we were cackling about some of the, the things that, like, just when you're in a show that happen on stage, that she was, we would sing that Unlikely Lover song, which is such a beautiful song. And I am not good at harmony. And I would often just drift to whatever Betsy was singing. And supposed to be 4 parts, but here I was in that bed, and I was like, well, she's right next to me. I can't. And Betsy was like, did you ever learn the harmony? And I was like, I don't think I did, Betsy. I don't think I did. I just sang what you were singing. That was it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was just it was the saddest of stories to be told, but it was done with so much love. And we really were a joyful group.
It was a fun,
Gosh, it was good. His music though is not easy. So if you lose your harmony, it's not like, oh, I'm just going to find the pocket and jump back in. No, you can't just sort of wing a Bill Finn. It's not SATB. It's not that.
No.
So if you go off, I think it is better just to hop on to Betsy's back and see where it takes you.
Be like, here we are. That's fine,
one thing
right?
I love about you, Andrew, is that your connection and the relationships that you carry with you, like Zuzana, your best friend for how many years now? How many decades?
24 years.
Right. When someone is so busy, and she's busy too,
yeah.
when you guys are working so hard, and whether that's your family or Zuzana or Betsy or myself, how do you prioritize like keeping those connections? Because it does take time and effort, and thinking of someone and saying, even just dropping a text, hey, I'm thinking about you while you're on set. And that sort of ability to juggle all of many life's facets is something that I truly admire about you.
Oh, well, thank you. I think that's, I think we're, you're lucky if you take a couple people with you from every production that you're a part of. It's like you always end, closing night is always, we'll be best friends forever, but it doesn't always work out that way. But you're lucky if you get to, really build a connection. And that's something that I remember learning as a kid, like even just doing like community theater was like, if you do want to keep in touch, like it's kind of up to you. Like it's up to you to sort of keep those communications. I mean, and there's certainly people that like I love working with, and I maybe won't see them for like a year, but then you have a moment at a party or something and you see them, and it's like no time has passed in a lot of ways. And I think that's a special part of, I guess it's, I don't know if it's specific to our business, but I've certainly found that to be true, that like you can always sort of fall back into, the old jokes and the old, connections. And that's, I think it's a really special part of what we get to do is, you have these very intense moments with people. I mean, I haven't spoken to Christian Borle in a long time, but I know
you would pick up,
I see him.
Exactly,
and it's
where
going
you
to
left
be
off.
fine. Yeah.
You
know what? Let's call him.
Right now. Morning, Christian. I hear there are a few folks sick at your theater these days. How you feeling? I hope he's okay. That just came out, I think, they had to cancel all of the weekend performances, right? And I think it's still up in the air. Yeah, I find, it's just a new world. And so Broadway, I think, has the budget to have enough understudies and swings to keep the productions going. Off Broadway, it's just, it's a different landscape. So
but even on Broadway, Mrs. Doubtfire had to cancel all of their shows yesterday.
Oh, really?
Know that.
They had 2 shows, and like they just had an opening night, and I don't think I'm sharing anything that's not already out there, but like, if you're at a party, it's just even if everyone's vaccinated, well, with the Omicron, it's a whole new situation.
It's a whole new situation.
And
Is
it's
that
not
why-
going anywhere. It's not
Is that-
going anywhere. So we're going to have to figure out new ways of doing things.
Is this why
Yeah.
company did not have an opening night because of that?
I
They
think
just wanted
so,
to
yeah.
protect everybody.
To
Why
be
do I
safe.
hear Patty LaPone's voice back there going, we are absolutely not having an opening.
I would.
Are you all
yeah,
idiots?
Probably.
Yeah.
Patty probably had.
She
something
put her
to do
foot
with that.
down, and probably for the betterment of everybody in the cast and crew and house,
But
Yeah.
it's such a different ball game, like working on a television show or something at this time, because you can juggle the schedule a little bit differently. There is more of a budget to get tested, I think, more completely every day.
Can you tell our listeners what that looks like?
Sure. So I'm just finishing the second season of a show called Girls Five Eva on Peacock. That's Tina Fey
Yep.
and Sarah
Damn you,
Bareilles and
that's
Renee.
That's a
And
show
Samar-
I forgot. Stop being in
It's a-
so many GD shows. I can't.
It's a fun one. It's really, really fun. But you go and you get tested every morning before you start work, and then you kind of hang out until you get your results and you're approved to, venture onto the set and go with your hair and makeup and do all of that.
Is there a medical person on set, or are they more home tests, or is it a PCR quick turnaround test?
No, they have the people. There's like a whole separate trailer for that. And everything that I've worked on in the past, year and a half has had a specific COVID team. So it's like a whole, but it's not like, the craft service person is also swabbing your nose. It's like a very dedicated group of people who are doing it, professionals, which is great. And you feel very protected, and you feel very, very safe doing it. And I've worked, for different networks at this point, and everybody kind of has a slightly different protocol, but for the most part, you feel very protected going into work. But when you're on Broadway, that's a whole lot of people on stage at the same time, and a whole lot of people watching you.
Yeah.
That's a whole different situation. So I'm hoping for the best, that they figure out a safe way to move forward for everybody, because I certainly don't want more of our friends getting sick while just trying to do their job. That's not great.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about your experience doing prom?
Oh,
I
sure.
mean, as a kid, in Omaha, the 16-year-old dreaming about it, did you ever think you'd be out there singing with Meryl? I mean, come on.
No. No. And in fact, when Ryan Murphy offered me that job, he was very sweet. And it like, much like, Ryan does, he just sort of like drops something on you, that he called me and said, "You're going to do the, film version of the prom. It's going to be you and Meryl and Nicole Kidman and James."
So wait.
And I
So
was like,
it's not
what?
for your interest or consideration. It's you're going
you're
to
gonna
be
do it.
doing.
Yeah, you're going to do it. And I was like, okay. Yes, please. But the first day we rehearsed, because we actually had like a full rehearsal period for like 4 weeks, that we got to learn all that choreography. And it was Casey Nicolau who had choreographed the Book of Mormon, which was really fun. So, but I showed up and I pulled into the Paramount like studio parking lot, and there was a car next to me with this woman in a red wig, and it was Meryl Streep
In a full red wig.
And she wears like a rehearsal wig, because she was like, well, I'm going to be wearing it when we're filming, so I might as well get used to like what that is. And there she was. And then we had to learn choreography together that day, and I was like sort of shaking, and I was like, "Can I touch you?" And she said, "Yeah, you have to touch me. Like we have to do this thing where you have to like hold my hand." I was like, okay, I just didn't know. Because the only other time I had ever met Meryl Streep was at Anne Roth's birthday. Anne Roth, who's a brilliant costume designer. And her birthday is on October 30th. So she usually throws like some sort of costume party. And she threw a costume party while we were doing the Book of Mormon. She was like, "You have to come in costume. You must come in a costume." So I decided that I would dress as a slutty astronaut. And I was wearing a very tight astronaut suit with like aviators and like I looked like real porny and real ridiculous. And I walked into the party and it was just Anne Roth and Meryl Streep.
No.
And they were not in costume.
No.
Wait a second. So Anne
No.
tells you must come in costume.
Yeah.
And the
she
the
was not in a
matriarch of
costume.
this party is not wearing a
Uh-huh.
costume.
Not in a costume. And
You, Anne.
neither was Meryl Streep. So
Please
that
tell
was
me
my
later
first-
people showed up in costume.
Yes.
Okay,
People
thank God.
did show up in costume. But so I reminded Meryl Streep of that at one point, and she was like, "Oh yeah."
Oh,
And I was like, "That was me."
You were the astronaut. I remember you.
Yeah. I was like, she was like, "Oh yeah." But they're all, I mean, what was so cool about especially having that rehearsal process was how hard she worked and Nicole worked and James Corden, like everybody just sort of dove in musical theater style. And that was really satisfying to see. And I feel like, and I don't know if this was like a conscious choice on their part, but it just really like leveled the playing field for everyone. And it felt like we were all on the same team and that nobody was going to be, fancy or a movie star or, everybody was just trying to learn this choreography and trying to, learn their music. And
because it's
it was
not a
really
competition, but the discipline of a musical theater, of learning musical theater piece, it is different. There is just a different attention, and you're using every bit of your body and your voice, and the work ethic has to be there, or it's just not gonna happen.
And Nicole Kidman, man, she ran that choreography every chance she would get, and she was always the one too. Like we learned that the finale, and we shot it pretty sequentially actually. So the finale was the last thing that we filmed. So we had learned it, but then months later, here we're filming it. And Nicole was always the one who would be like, "Let's run the finale.
I love hearing
Let's
that.
do it."
I love
So she would
that.
she would make us get up, and we would get our little dance captain to come over, and like we would just run the finale every time we could. She's great.
Is there anything you in particular want to share or say or have us touch on? I'm not kidding.
Well, I love you.
Oh God.
Have we touched on that?
I love you too. I'm telling you. I mean, I get real sappy when I talk about my pals that I call them my family from the falsettos. But when I hugged you on that Tony carpet, because I was nervous, Andrew,
Me too.
I was nervous to come back to that world, to that scene, to all of it. I felt like, just the pandemic has changed so much in me. I'm aging dog years, people. So for like every human year, I am aging 5 to 7. It's just, that's what's going on over
It's
here.
not the pandemic though. It's having a kid too. And you age in dog
Mary
years
and
when you have a
Joseph.
kid
But
for a little
when
while.
I hugged you, it really was like life affirming. And I was like, ooh, okay, there's a lot of peace of home here, right? On, where, I don't even know what avenue we were on, but we're standing in front of a big the Winter Garden. And I was like, I do belong here. There is deep connection and ties and roots. And I love these people.
It's nice to hear you say that because I felt the same way. I was very nervous. I was very honored to be included.
Me too.
But nervous about going back and not sure if I could even do it anymore, quite frankly. I was like, do I know how to do this? Like, do I know how to even just like walk on a carpet and talk to people, and can I still take photos? I don't know. And then was, had to sing that night, and I was like, this is very overwhelming. But with every step, seeing you and seeing, Kelly, or seeing Norm Lewis, or, just like, running into people, it was like, oh, we're a part of this community. And this does feel like a celebration of the community, which felt really great.
It did feel great. It did feel great.
It made me want to do a show, but
I know. I'm itchy. I am itchy.
I know.
Okay, we have to end.
I'm just going to throw a brand new one out there, Stephanie.
Oh, well,
even
shit.
Stephanie hasn't heard this one.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Okay.
Andrew, what would be the theme song of your life?
The theme song of my life, the first thing that popped into my head was, I don't know if you remember the show from the 80s, but It's a Living.
Life's not the French Riviera.
That's
That's
what it
good.
would be.
Right now, I think mine would just be 60 minutes. Tick, 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 tick. That's what I feel every damn waking moment of the day.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's a good
Okay.
Get you back to New York. We have
Yeah,
to
I
get you
know.
back.
We're making our way there.
All right.
If I was to step into your closet, is there a garment or an item that holds such special memories that you will never ever get rid of it?
I have the tuxedo that I wore the first time I went to the Tonys as a nominee that I don't fit in anymore.
But you keep
And I
it.
don't know if I ever will, but I will always keep that tuxedo.
I love
In
it.
fact, sometimes during the pandemic, I would just try it on to see how close I could get those pants to closing. And sometimes they would, and I mean, I certainly couldn't sit in it, but maybe I could lean or stay.
We'll get you one of those things that they put in maternity jeans where
Yes,
you hook it
that's what
on,
I
you hook
need.
it on the thing and you
Yeah.
have
Yep.
that whole elastical opening there. We'll get that for you. So you
Thank
can
you, I
put it on and
appreciate
feel good about being in that tux again.
The women know all the tricks for those sort of things.
Yep.
What does this tag say? Well, cut it right off. You are not my friend.
Okay, if you could have any power or ability, supernatural or not, what would it be?
Teleportation. I would like to be able to like bounce from place to place with
Where would you go first?
well, it would just be easier to like visit my family and like I could go be in your living room right now, or I think that would be it.
Oh my gosh.
There
I
was
would love to
also,
have you.
well, I'm gonna give it a two-part answer. There was also a show when I was a kid called Out of This World, where a girl
With the robot?
she could stop. No, that's Small Wonder.
Forgive me. Forgive me. My bad.
But she could stop time by touching her fingertips together. Do you remember the show?
No.
I often think of that sometimes too, of like, I wish
Okay.
I could do that. But teleportation, that would be the big one.
Do you have a good luck charm or a ritual before starting a show, or stepping on stage or anything big?
I tried to sort of break myself of that habit because I
Good.
got real, I could get really in my head about it. Yeah. So I try to break myself of the rituals. Yeah. Just because it's like, then it's if something goes wrong, then I get too superstitious, or I get, yeah. So I get nervous about that. So
Fair.
I can't do a repeat thing.
Okay, final question.
Okay.
If you were a nail polish color, what color would you be, and what would the cheeky little name be?
What color would I be? I mean, probably like a red. And I think the name
Meryl's
would be
wig. Would you call it
Meryl's wig.
Oh, that's
I
a
think-
good one.
I would call it the higher the hair, the closer to God. It's a long title for a nail polish, but I feel like people would get it.
Yeah, they're all in. They know.
It's very 80s.
Have you
Very
noticed
80s.
that my hair has like grown since we've been talking?
Yeah, so you're about
Like
6'2" and a
gotten-
half now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gotten bigger. It just
Yeah.
happens that
I
way.
feel like your Jesus back there has moved as well. There's a lot of things happening in your room right now.
I think that
There's a
Jesus
Jesus-
has moved, actually.
There's a macrame plant.
Ooh, a plant
hanger.
holder. That's nice.
Yes.
Guys, I thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
I love
Thank
you
you for
lots
having
and
me.
lots.
I love you too. And Marley, it's so nice to meet you.
So nice to meet you.
And thank you for having me.
Yes.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're awesome. I can't wait to, again, hug you in person. Okay.
Yes.
We're funny as all get out, right?
So what a great guy.
The way his mind works is what I love, and the specificity with which his mind works,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And maybe it's because I grew up kind of in that same 4 or 5 year span, but when he references things, I
Yeah.
know I can drop in at that place and time and know exactly
Yeah.
what he's talking about. So it really tickles me in a way that I'm like, okay, you and I speak the same sort of pop culture language. Because
Yeah.
when I talk to kids, I'm going to call you young people in late teens or even 20s. I am of the age where I'm like, I'm not quite sure what that is. I'm going to have to Google
Mhm.
that or look that up. But when he says something, oh my gosh, I immediately start to laugh because I was like, I know exactly where you
Well,
are and what you're
and
talking about.
he never references the really popular stuff. He references the sort
Right.
of off kilter
Yeah. The
stuff.
outliers.
So that definitely, if you know what that is, you can connect to the humor that he's trying to project. It's really funny.
And the success of him is, I mean, I did a lot of homework to kind of go back and be like, oh yeah, he did this, this, and this. And even still, I missed like 3 really huge that if I were to do them, they'd be in my resume highlighted with
Yeah.
asterisks and arrows pointing. And he's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, when I did the prom, or now I'm doing this
Yeah.
thing, Girls Five Eva. And you're like, oh my gosh, you're
Yeah.
everywhere.
And we didn't even talk about Black Monday, and
Yeah.
he's doing so many, and he's also doing so many things, so that I think he doesn't really latch on. It's actually a really great attitude to have about everything.
Right.
If you're sort of white knuckling, I think we talked about that a little bit in
With Pam.
Pamela Bob's episode. When you're
Exactly.
white knuckling or holding on to either what you did or what you want to do, it doesn't leave room for any flow. And so he seems to take it very much in stride and with great humor and perspective. He sort of puts it into a perspective of, yes, it's super important and it's super fun and it's everything I ever dreamed of, but it doesn't define everything about me, is how he seems to come across.
Yeah.
And I've seen him a few times on stage, and he's really,
he's
you
electric.
watch him. Yeah, you watch him.
Yeah.
But he's not trying to get you to watch him.
Nope.
He's just being himself out there, and it is very electric, and your eye goes to him. And he's not chewing the scenery or trying to steal any moments. He's just very, very present and full of energy. And you just see it and your eye goes to him. He's great.
Yeah, he is great. And there is, he rides this, or I should say, he walks this balance of being down home, like old fashioned goodness, but his art is pretty risque, like Big Mouth. It's got some edge and some sharp tongue and some explicit humor to it. Same thing with Black Monday. His book, I will say, it is so worth the read or the listen. But he speaks very personally about a lot of issues like we spoke about, right? About sexual awakenings, sexual mishaps, sexual scares, finding his way through New York City, which everybody's story is going to be different and is going to have these details. But I just want you to know that his heart and his humor is in there, but he is unzipping himself and showing you a lot of his guts and
it takes way more courage to do that than I would ever have. I don't think I would be able to be as open about my mistakes or my mishaps or the things that trip me up as he was. It's sort of unapologetic, but not really. It's just this honesty, no shame. I think that's that he's sort of doing it without shame. And I think that's really unique and really, really needed.
Because I think he believes that the sum of all parts are what makes him him. And when you can embrace that, then there is a freedom. I'm still searching for that too. I just have to always take the temperature of the environment and the people that are in that environment when I choose to share, But I think he's come to a place in his life where he said it's time. And I think, again, it wasn't just about, I have to share this for me. There are cautionary tales in there, and there's a reason. There's a bigger reason for him to tell these stories.
Yeah, it wasn't just telling the story to tell the story to be of shock value. He actually is trying to empower young kids who find themselves in a similar position. And that's what I really enjoyed about why he told the story. I think that's so important. But is he married? Is he in a long-term relationship?
He's had, since I've known him, there have been a few long-term relationships. And I'm talking 5 years, 2 years. So, I don't I can certainly see him marrying. I can see these really beautiful qualities in him that make him an extraordinary partner. But as we all know, as artists, to find that balance of professional and personal, not always easy,
Yeah,
even for
yeah.
people that are a quarter as busy as Andrew Rannells
Right,
is. So,
right.
I
And the
don't
other
think-
thing about him that I think is worth noting is what you mentioned in the interview about these long-term friendships that he has. He has friendships from, his teens
Mhm.
and his 20s. And there's something about that. And I don't know if it's just because I'm the type of person to hold on to long-term
Mhm.
friendships in my life. I think my oldest is my friend who I met when I was about 12, and I just saw her 2 nights ago. And, to me, people that can make relationships and accept people through all the different phases of their life and allow mishaps to fall away and allow them to explore who they are in that moment and change a little, but keep coming back to your life. I think people who allow you to do that and who allow others to do that is a really special thing. And I try to be that person for my friends. And I know that the ones I've held on to have been that for me. I mean, you're an example of that too. You and I have gone through so many different roads and pulled apart and come together, and the weaving of and the
Mary
different
Lee,
timing.
if you don't say stages right now, I'm going to punch you in the guts.
Steph, what it's about someone who can see you through the different stages.
That's right, Mary.
Stages of your life.
That's right.
That's right.
So I will keep him through the many stages in my life, and I hope he keeps me. I mean, one of the memories that I love is that we had finished Falsettos. Vivi was going to turn 2, and Seb and I had this wackadoodle. It's totally selfish to bring her to Disney World. And next thing I knew, Andrew's like, I want to come. Christian was like, oh, I'm going. And Brenda's like, oh, we're all going to celebrate Vivi's second birthday. And we got our face painted, and we did like Disneyland and Epcot to celebrate this little 2-year-old. And it's moments like that that are indelible to me. And their generosity of spirit and time, because it sounds fun and all, but when you're adult grown people, to dedicate like 2 or 3 days to go to Disney World to celebrate a friend's 2-year-old, I just find it so, so beautiful. And it really was one of those moments where I was like, these are my guys. They are there for me and my family. Me too.
And that really was a special show. I was so happy I got to see that show on stage.
Me too.
And I've said it before. I just thought you were utterly brilliant in that show.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a great, great, great show.
Thank you.
You're so fortunate to have been able to do it and, be a part of it.
I recognize that. All right,
lady. My love. This was fun.
Thank you. I know I felt that way too. I like starting my day with fun. It's good. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
Stages podcast is produced by Mary Lee Fairbanks and Stephanie J. Block. You can find us wherever you listen to your podcasts. Join us on social media pages or sign up for the mailing list at stagespodcast.net. That is also where you will find Stages swag. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share and rate and review the show. It really helps us grow. Big thank you to Noah Kaiserman and Garrett Healy for the original music, and Allison Arns, who has been with us since day one. See you soon.